How many times have you found yourself with an unknown woman and felt that spark of interest? Supreme, if you're caught between intrigue and skepticism, this video will reveal 5 essential keys to break the ice and get the number of that girl who caught your eye. We've all been there, in some corner of the street, a bar, or a party, observing that person who piques our curiosity. However, sometimes, fear or lack of strategy prevents us from taking that crucial first step. But before delving into details, let me share a brief story with you that might resonate. Imagine this: you're at a social event, you see someone who intrigues you, but the words get stuck in your throat. That unique opportunity fades away, and you're left with a bitter taste of what could have been. Do you want to know how to finally set aside that frustrating feeling of wanting to connect with someone and not knowing how? Don't worry, I'll share that secret-filled story with you in just a few moments. Number 5. Approach. Imagine for a moment, Supreme, that you're standing in the vastness of life, contemplating the horizon of opportunities. By your side, an unknown female figure that could be the key to an exciting chapter in your story. However, as in any tale, the script doesn't always follow the expected course. Yes, the first thing I want you to engrave in your heart is that rejection is not a verdict on your worth. It's like a chapter in a novel where the protagonist has a cloudy day, already has her own love story, or is simply racing against time. It might be that at that moment, she's immersed in her own happiness tale with someone else. Or perhaps, life's pressures are pushing her in a race against the clock. And yes, on some occasions, the mere fact that the universe isn't aligned can influence her response. Remember, she's not rejecting you. She doesn't know your story, your virtues, or the context that defines you. What she's rejecting is the situation, the introduction of a stranger into her plot at that precise moment in her life. So, when you face that rejection, don't let that chapter define you. Instead, focus on the broader narrative, opening the conversation and acting with confidence. Just by taking that step, you're already worthy of pride. You've progressed toward transforming into a more confident man. Think of it as the hero of your own story, forging your way through challenges, with the conviction that every encounter, even if brief, is another page in the story of your life. Move forward with that renewed confidence, brave adventurer of your own destiny. Number 4. How to approach. The next key is like unraveling an enigma, and I want you to imagine for a moment that you're in the jungle of life, surrounded by unknown creatures and unexplored emotions. Before delving deeper into this forest of possibilities, etch in your mind 2 golden rules, like 2 beacons guiding you in the darkness. The first, when approaching any human being to start a conversation, extend your hands in a visible position, as if you're revealing your true intentions. Never hide them in your pockets or behind your body. Think of it as if you're unfolding the map of your heart. Imagine when a stranger approaches you with hidden hands. Wouldn't you feel a stab of uncertainty, a suspicion of danger? Hands, like pages of a book, tell a story before a single word is spoken. The second golden rule is a reminder of respect: never touch the person before initiating the conversation. It reminds me of a story I witnessed in an urban setting, where a guy, trying to get the attention of a lady with her back turned, touched her shoulder. A gesture that, like the roar of an unexpected thunder, startled her and triggered all her alarms. Isn't it our responsibility, as explorers of human relationships, to be aware of the storms our actions can unleash? Feel like you're a tree in the middle of the path, not an obstacle blocking the way, but a witness allowing the flow without restrictions. You should never make her feel restrained, forced to stop. Instead, approach from a side angle, like an accomplice sharing the stage. This, Supreme, has the power to make her relax, perceiving you as an unnecessary travel companion, a rare and valuable treasure in this vast emotional territory. As you approach, imagine that you're the protagonist of an epic story, with your head held high, eye contact reflecting the strength of your emotions, and a smile that lights up the path. But here comes the warning: never approach from the shadows. Avoid the tactic of surprising her from behind, like a character emerging from the darkness. This only creates uncomfortable situations, a startle in the heart of your interlocutor. If, on the contrary, you approach from a clear front, subtly advancing before opening the conversation, you give her space to anticipate your arrival, smoothing the encounter. And if she's sitting on a bench, sit next to her as you delve into the plot you're about to write together. This action, like the shared seat, puts her on the same level, building a bridge over which stories can flow. Number 3, the opening. Here, in the third key, I want to take you by the hand through two divergent paths, each with its own shadows and lights. On the first path, we face environments where rejection can resonate like a constant echo, where looks and opinions intertwine in a shared social fabric. Whether in a high school, at work, or at the gym, every step must be calculated, as a refusal can reverberate like thunder throughout the social circle. But, Supreme, don't worry, not all is lost. In these cases, subtlety becomes an ally. If you detect mutual interest, we'll explore strategies in future chapters, but for now, let's focus on those fleeting encounters where strangers fade into the distance, and rejection leaves no deep scars. Here, on this second path, I urge you to honesty, to the courage of being direct. Imagine you are the protagonist of a movie, and this is the crucial scene where you decide not to act with hidden intentions but with the sincerity that exudes confidence. Remember, women appreciate confidence and honesty. How you pronounce your words carries more weight than the words themselves. It's like a melody that resonates in her heart, a connection beyond words. You can start by expressing what you feel, telling her that you find her attractive and that, at first glance, she seems like a fascinating person. But here's the trick, Supreme, throw a subtle challenge, let uncertainty linger in the air. Is she as interesting as she appears? In the art of seduction, impose a time limit at the beginning of the conversation. Tell her that your time is limited, that you only have 5 minutes. This gesture removes the pressure, allowing the encounter to flow without restrictions. Sometimes, those 5 minutes turn into a lasting conversation. And finally, when you introduce yourself, don't forget to extend your hand. Don't be a seller of empty promises, be the craftsman of a genuine greeting. Make her feel that you're here as a human being, not as someone trying to sell her something. The extended hand is the key that opens the door to a real connection, far from masks and pretensions. Number 2, conversation techniques. Now that you have the keys to start the conversation and the tactic to stop time, let's delve into conversation techniques, where the art of the word becomes your ally. The first technique is simple but powerful: ask fewer questions and make more statements. Visualize this scene: the interrogation fades away, giving way to a harmonious dance of words. By making statements, you avoid overwhelming her, presenting yourself as a storyteller confident in his tale, not as someone thirsty and desperate. Imagine you're interested in discovering her field of study. Instead of drowning her in a sea of questions, make an intriguing statement. You look like you study medicine. Here, she will be wrapped in the plot you're weaving, responding with a yes or no and inevitably asking why medicine. This subtle game immerses her in the narrative, making her part of the story. The second technique, the bait, is the symphony that awakens her curiosity. Once you discover her field of study, perhaps psychology, unleash your bait. So, is it true what they say about psychologists? Here, intrigue hangs in the air, and she, like an actress eager for her next dialogue, will ask you what they say. Now, seduction comes into play. Change the subject. Hold a brief silence, ignore her question, and respond jokingly, "Well, yes, now that I look at you, what they say is true." This little game of mystery and humor heightens her curiosity even more, preparing her for the next scene in our narrative. These techniques, Supreme, not only engage her in the conversation but also build a connection bridge that will be crucial for the next act, the closure. It will be the masterstroke when we ask for her phone number. Number 1, the closure. Now we reach the climax of our story, the time to request that connection that can change the course of our destinies. The choice between a phone number or a virtual corner on Instagram is before us, but let me reveal to you advice forged in the essence of authenticity. Here, we're not simply asking, "Can I have your phone number?" No, my advice goes deeper, more personal. Anchor your request in a shared memory, something she has confided in you, like being a psychologist. Imagine this scene: "Would love to see you again," in a more relaxed setting, having coffee, and you explaining those anecdotes you had while studying psychology. Here, we're building emotional bridges, taking her back to those moments that bind us. Now, let's immerse ourselves in the magic of the bait we planted earlier. And if I find your anecdotes amusing, maybe I'll tell you about what I mentioned regarding psychologists. A touch of mystery, a nod to the curiosity we share. And then, with determination, declare, "So, give me your phone number." Here, the key is in the statement, not in the question. We're not begging, we're confidently demanding, "Give me your phone number." It's important to mention that in this dance of connections, sometimes it's easier to get Instagram. A more informal terrain where authenticity can shine through a profile that reflects your essence. If you have a virtual corner radiating sociability and pre-selection, it can be a successful strategy. Now, will you implement any of these techniques? Did you already know them? Tell me about your experiences in the comments. And before you go, I have a special invitation for you. Get ready for the next video, where I'll reveal tricks for making any woman think of you always. Join this exclusive group and be part of the evolution. If this content has been helpful, show it with a like and subscribe. See you soon, Supreme.